Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make a two-colour beaded Kumihimo braid. And then this is the effect that you can get. Now this is just the one that I'm going to be showing you. On this I used some small rondelle beads in two different colours, a purple and a black. But really this is just to show you the technique, because this technique will work with any kind of bead. As you can see, these are long magatemas and you get that spiralling pattern with two colours on. So I'm just going to show you how to do it, how to place your beads onto your cords in order to achieve this look. So if you want to learn how to do that, then keep watching. Now these are the things that I'm going to be using. First off, we'll just need a round Kumihimo disc, because we're just making a basic 8-strand round Kumihimo braid, and we're going to be using the round disc for that. And the cord that I'm going to be using is this. I've just chosen a black colour, just so it'll go nicely with the beads that I'm using and it won't stand out. And this is 0.4mm S-lon cord, so it's quite fine, but the reason I like to use this for when I do beaded Kumihimo is because it's really strong, so it's going to be very durable with your final piece, and because of thickness as well, it's going to go through most beads. And then the beads that I'm going to use are these rondelles. Now I've got two different colours because we're making a two-colour beaded Kumihimo braid, so I've got a black colour and then a purple colour. And like I said, these are just rondelles and they measure 3 by 4mm. But this is just basically to show you the technique. You can use this technique for any kind of beads. I'm just going to use these to show you it with. And then I've also got some basic findings here just to finish off the braid at the end. I've got my Kumihimo ends and then just a selection of clasp and extended chain. And then finally, this is an optional extra, but I've just got a couple of bobbins here. I'm going to be using a few more than these, but these are just to show you what they look like. So this is how you open them. And you wind your cord around there, close it back up, and then it helps keep your cords from tangling and just keeping it more organised really and easy to use. But it's an optional extra, you don't need to use them if you don't have them. So get all your things together and then let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is get our cords ready, and I've cut 4 lengths off and they're 1 metre each. And I've only cut 4 because what we're going to do is double them over, and then we're going to use them as 8 working strands. So when you cut them, I'm going to then grab hold of all of them, and then I've put them together at the end so they're all kind of meeting up at the end. And then what I'm going to do is pull the ends together like this, so that on the other end here where I have my finger, that's going to be roughly the middle. And then I'm going to tie a single overhand knot with all my cords right around there. So that's going to symbolise the fact that it's the middle, but also it's going to be the starting point of our braid. So just do a regular overhand knot like this, tighten it so this knot is roughly in the middle. And that's how I'm going to start it off, and now we need to attach it to the board. So now that I have my cords ready, with my knot, I'm going to get my Kumihimo disc out, and it's just a round one, because it's a basic 8-strand braid we're going to be making, a round one. And then I'm going to put that knot down through the centre of my disc, and then just distribute the cords around the disc. And what I'm going to do is place, I'm going to use the dots on my disc, I'm not going to be concerned about the numbers. I'm going to place 2 around the top dot, and then another 2 around the side dot. And then we need to do the same thing with the remaining dots. So 2 around the opposite side dot, like so. And then around the bottom dot as well, the last 2. And then I'm just going to pull them a bit so my knot sits in the middle of that hole in your disc, like so. So that's the setup. And now we need to start a bit of braiding. So what you can do at this point is you have this knot in the middle, and that's what I'm going to kind of keep hold of to pull down through here. So our braid is going to be coming out on this side, on the back side. But if you're not quite comfortable doing that, what you can do is get a piece of spare cord or spare wire, wrap it around there and have it coming out through the back, and you can help that. You can use that to help you pull it through, and just something to grab hold of. And then otherwise what we need to do is need to make a little tiny section of just braiding with cord with no beads on. So to do that, you just take, I'm going to take my top left cord, bring it down to the bottom, stay on the left side, and then take the bottom right one, bring it up, and stay on the right side of the disc. And then turn my disc, and take the top left one, bring it down, and then the bottom right one, and bring it up. And this is just how I do my braids. You can start from the bottom as well, up, and then come down with the other one. And it's completely up to you, and it doesn't really matter. And also you can turn your disc the other way around, that doesn't matter either. As long as you just stay consistent throughout the braid with how you're doing it. But this is just the basic 8-strand braid. So you just want to keep doing this for about 1 centimetre or 2 until we have a little piece of braid with just a cord. So I've now continued braiding for a little bit, and I now have just about 1 centimetre or 2 of just the braid coming out of the back here. And now is the time we're going to start adding in our beads. So I've now added on beads to all my lengths of cord, and what I've done is I've added about 35 beads to each length. Now this obviously can be different depending on what you're making. Now these beads are quite small, so hence why I'm using 35 on each, but obviously it'll depend on the materials that you're using, the size of your beads, and then also how large you want your final piece to be. This is going to be a pretty standard size bracelet. And also what I've done is I've put my bobbins on the end here, so it's going to be a little bit easier to work with and not get too tangled up as we're doing it. So to achieve that 2-colour look to your final braid, the way you need to set up your colours of beads on your cords is quite simple. All you need to do is you're looking on your board and you got 2 pairs across from each other like this, and then 2 pairs across from each other like that. And what you want to do is my purple beads are all on these 2 pairs opposite each other, and my black beads are all on these 2. So that's just how you want to do it, and you just fill up the whole strand of cord with the same colour of bead. So add your 2 colours of beads onto your cords like this, and then now it's time to start adding the beads into the braid. So to do that, all I'm going to do is pick up my board and then continue the braid just like we've been doing before. Now what you'll see is these bobbins for me right now aren't working that well because I'm working on top of a surface here, but normally they'd be hanging down freely, and then that's how they're going to help you with not getting too tangled up. But like I said, I'm going to continue the exact same braid that you were doing before, but then every time you release a cord, so take my top one like normal and let one bead drop down, and you want to let it drop down below all the cords that are crossing over each other here in the middle, so your bead kind of locks into place underneath your cords like so. And then from the bottom, same thing, let one bead drop down, tuck it in underneath there, and then bring it up. And right at the beginning here, it's going to look a little bit loose and a bit funny, but once you start building the braid up, it's going to naturally be a lot easier, and the beads will naturally fall into place most of the time. So grab another one, make sure that the one bead falls underneath the cords in the middle, like this, from the bottom. Let it fall, and if it doesn't fall in underneath the cords there naturally, you just tuck it in with your fingers, and you just continue like this. So to show you a bit up close, you grab, release the next strand, and then you let one bead drop down, make sure it tucks underneath the other cords, place it back in your slot, and then grab the one from the bottom and do the same thing, and your bead will most likely naturally fall into the right place, but if it doesn't, just use your finger to just tuck it in there to make sure it gets underneath all your cords in the middle, and you just continue like that. Now I do have a video where I go into more detail about how to add beads to your Kumihimo braid, so I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below, but otherwise you just continue like this until you've either used up all your beads or you reach the length that you want your final piece to be. So I've now used up all my beads and all my lengths of cord, and then what we need to do is just do a little section of just braiding like we did in the beginning. So you just continue the same basic braid like you've been doing the whole way, but again just stop adding in the beads. And then what you'll find is that here in the middle the cords will naturally kind of singe in and become just the same braid that you had in the beginning. So just do this for about a couple of centimeters to match the other end. So I'll continue the braid for a little bit now, and now I just want to finish off this end so I can take it off my disc. And the way I do that is just grabbing opposite cords. So I take this one and the very opposite one, so these two, and just I make sure I don't start with a pair that I've just done, and then cross them over in the middle, tie a regular overhand knot, and then that knot will sit across the middle of your braid. Put them back in just to get them out of the way. Move on to the next ones, the ones across from each other like this. Tie a knot across the middle, tighten that nicely. Move on to the last two. Grab cords very opposite each other. Tie a knot over the middle, like that. And then the last ones, this is just to secure the end in place so we can take it off the board and not worry about it coming undone. Like that. And now we can release it from the disc. Without it unraveling. So you have your end here. And then this is the finished braid with beads on it, where you have your two colours running along the whole thing. So this is the final result. And you have your two colours here, spiralling all the way down. And then at this end, you just want to put a bit of glue on here and then cut off the excess lengths of your cord. And then all you do is finish off both ends the same way. Use some Kumihimo ends. I've got a video on how to do that. I'll link that in the description box. That might be helpful for you. But then this is how you make a Kumihimo braid with beads on it using two colours. And like I said, this is just to show you the technique, and it will be the same for any kind of beads that you use. This is a bracelet I made using long magatama beads, but using the exact same technique. And as you can see, you get that two colour spiraling effect. So this is just to show you how you need to set up your beads to achieve that. So that's how you do that, and I really hope that you enjoyed that, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to do a basic beaded Kumihimo braid using round beads in this case, and this is what it looks like. So this is just the example that I'll be showing you in the video, but it's more to show you the technique of how to add beads to a Kumihimo braid, because you can use many different sizes and types of beads. So if you want to learn how to do that, then stay tuned. And these are the things that you'll need.